Afternoon, everyone. Afternoon, everybody.
Hello, Tom and folks.
Hello.
Hello.
Good afternoon, Commissioner-elect Hill.
Good afternoon.
Congratulations.
Thank you. How is everyone? Are you enjoying this damp, cool weather? It's not too hot and it's not real cold yet, so we're right there in the middle.
Not
The
too
leaves
much.
were sticking on my car.
And all over the yard.
Yes.
Uh-oh, yeah. Yeah.
Rachel, do you know if Randy's going to be able to join us today?
He didn't say anything about it earlier today. So I'm not sure.
Dr. Hill, do we know if anyone from Crosslines will be here?
I don't know.
I hadn't heard.
I haven't spoken to anybody today.
How'd you accomplish that?
Well, at least from that location, I have.
Oh, okay, very good. I don't know. Some days those days aren't that bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I wanted to know what the trick was. to
Yeah.
that.
You know what the trick is? Lose your phone.
Ah,
Brian, thanks for getting this set up again. Appreciate it.
A pleasure.
Dr. Hill, how about we give everyone just a few more moments or minutes?
okay, that sounds good.
Just a real quick straw poll. Do you think we would have better participation if we conducted the meetings in person? And then I'm just throwing that out to the entire group.
I'm not sure.
I'll chime in and say,
Depends on the day, I think. Like today, with my boot, I wasn't looking to come out in the cold rain and hobble over there, but on most days I prefer an in-person meeting. But some people prefer Zoom, so I'm not sure what kind of mix we have in the group.
Just me personally, I know I often wouldn't be able to make it if it were in person at this time and on Mondays. So this helps me be able to attend.
Yeah, I'm a big fan for in-person meetings, but I guess City Hall on the 5th floor may not be the most inviting place for most individuals.
Point. Parking is difficult.
Zoom it.
Clayton, I'm not sure we understood what you were talking about. Could you be more clear on your? I'm teasing. I'm teasing Clayton.
Yes, parking at City Hall sucks. I agree with Kayla. Nobody wants to get out on a day like this, and we're coming into winter months. So I'd say keep it the way it is, boys and girls.
Clayton, thanks for not beating around the bush.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Well, and to that point, it's pretty much whatever Commissioner-elect Hill would like to do moving forward.
Oh, well, I like the Zoom. That's fine. Works for me. Perfect.
Just to note that if we have them virtual, they still have to have a physical location. So somebody will be here at City Hall anyways. So if people
All right.
do want to come join, they can.
Dr. Hill, do you want to get started?
Sure.
You want to kick us off? Let me kick us off.
Well, normally you kick it off. We can keep going the way we've been doing it. I'm happy to jump in.
Well, then welcome everybody and thanks for being here. You know, we started off strong and we're going to talk a little bit more about this kind of about a year and a half ago. We started off strong. We had those focus groups and that's kind of gone off to the wayside for a couple different reasons. And we'll talk about that. But please know that everyone that had originally signed up to be on this task force is still receiving notice of the task force. So if you recall folks that were once coming and are no longer coming, or you think there should be additional folks here, please nudge your friends and colleagues to join us. Because I do believe there has been some benefit. There's been some great conversation that's taken place. And I believe incrementally we are making a difference. So I just want to say that and just please, if you see someone that used to be at the meetings, nudge them a little bit. I think also I'd like to officially congratulate Dr. Evelyn Hill as being Commissioner-elect for the 4th District of the Unified Government. Dr. Hill, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yay!
Thank you all. Thank you for your support and encouragement along the way.
One of the things that I wanted to visit about was the upcoming warming shelter. And is anyone from Crosslines here, or is anyone with the Unified Government able to speak on some of the logistics and specifics of the upcoming warming shelter? If I start us off, will someone smarter than me jump in and correct me? So I believe there is everything has been resolved. I believe the warming shelter is going to be located again this year in the space that it was last year at 5th and State Avenue, excuse me. So the 400 block of State Avenue. I believe Crosslines is once again managing that contract. I'm looking to Rachel as she's nodding her head up or down or sideways. So And I believe there has been at least one, if not a couple emails sent out from Rob and some other folks from Crosslines with some sign up opportunities and some of those logistics of, I know they're trying to hire some staff for the overnight warming center. Rachel, or does anyone know what the temperature needs to be forecasted for the opening of the center?
Yeah, 25 degrees.
Can you maybe explain that and, what all that means, please?
Yeah, so Crosslines is going to determine at 8 a.m. each day if the shelter is going to be open or not based on the weather forecast for that day. And the shelter will open at 6 p.m. Capacity will be for about 40 adults. They will get a warm meal and a sleeping mat, a blanket, and a tent to sleep in. And a grab and go breakfast in the morning, and they do have to leave at 8 a.m.
I have a question. This is Linda Barber, a community member, and this is the first time I've had someone to ask it of, that the temperature for the warming center is 25. And I was just curious, since freezing is like 32, why is it at 25?
Yeah, there are a lot of factors that play into that. Part of it is how many nights per year are at a certain temperature level. So if they were to say the temperature is 32 degrees, they might be open twice as many nights, honestly, and the budget doesn't allow for that. So they also think about different what different shelters in the area are doing and coming up with a regional plan with Kansas City, Missouri, and what is going on in Kansas City, Missouri, and making sure that everybody is being consistent with their message and when they are opening.
Okay. So
And I know it seems harsh to draw a line, but they do have to draw a line somewhere, and thinking about, when people lose limbs. And I know that if Crosslines, if they could be open every night for people, they absolutely would, but just can't.
Okay, so it is consistent with Kansas City, Missouri. That's their cutoff also.
Yes.
Thank you.
Rachel, thank you for that explanation. Thanks for saving the day on that one.
Absolutely.
I do know that Crosslines is going to be needing individuals to hire for the overnight shelter. I know they're going to be needing volunteers to help. They would like groups to come in and prepare meals and serve meals. So if your group, if your church, the organization you work with, your neighborhood association would like to get involved, please reach out to, and Rachel just posted it in the chat, or the chat group. So thank you, Rachel. That was a big announcement. Dr. Hill, do you want to kind of move on to PowerPoint presentation?
Sure, we can do that. And before we do, I just want to say congratulations to Reverend Stevie Wakes for being on the new board, the board for BPU. So congratulations to you, Reverend.
Thank you,
Wakes.
as well as congratulations to you as well. Thank you.
Okay, let's see. I'll share my screen. Okay, can you all see this? Just nod your head. Okay, great.
Yes.
All right. So we'll start right here. This is the kind of the beginning of the process for making a presentation. We have been working at this for a long time, and so we didn't have anything really written down. So we have started this whole process for unhoused neighbors and residents in need. So here are some of the areas that we'll be looking at, and we have been actively working on a location for the Willa Gill Center and Kitchen, unhoused population shelter for families, warming and cooling center, affordable housing, and mental health services. So right now, the urgent need is a location for the Willa Gill Center. And on this next slide, you can kind of see where we have been looking at. And we don't have any of the Willa Gill folks with us today, but they have mentioned interest in this particular area. And as you can see, this is right there off of 5th Street and Washington Boulevard. So that kind of small mall area there. It's some empty buildings. So, oops. And so right north, wait a minute, west of where the United Way building used to be, that parking lot area, and even further down. Does Tom, do you want to explain that any better, or maybe you could explain it better than me, that area?
I will say what I think. And we all know that the Willa Gill Center, where it's currently located off of Nebraska, does need to move because of the $70+ million investment of the Kansas City, Kansas downtown campus. So I know the unified government has been working very, very hard and diligently trying to find appropriate and suitable locations. There have been multiple possible locations discussed. There has been a small group of social service agencies, service providers that have gotten together and have talked about kind of what are the real needs, kind of doing a needs assessment of the individuals being served and also the agencies that are providing the services. And as a result of some of those conversations, we came up with this general area of that grocery, the former grocery store, and maybe some of the other small line of storefronts that front on 5th Street. I think wherever this goes, it has to be a commitment from us and from the unified government and from everybody involved that this has to be a glorious palace of a facility. It has to provide extraordinary dignity to all those being served, and this should be a showcase and a centerpiece for the community. We should not be ashamed of it. We should celebrate it, and this is going to be a true public-private nonprofit partnership and community partnership with so many different funders and service providers.
Thank you, Tom. And we have not had a conversation with UG about this site at all. And it would, I'm sure, require some construction and repurposing of buildings or new construction. So, but anyway, this was an area that Willa Gill felt very comfortable. Their team felt comfortable of having their services there. And I love what Tom said. This should be state-of-the-art facility that we can be proud of. And we wanted to continue to have some of the wraparound services that it has now, which includes the kitchen, the mailboxes, clothing, hygiene, and healthcare advocate and mental health. Another thing we've talked about a lot over the years is a proposal for a family shelter. And so there is such a need, and I realized just working in the community over the years that Wyandotte County does not have a family shelter. We used to have a shelter for women and children years ago with the Salvation Army, but right now we don't have one available. We have discovered over the years that the school district has had as many as at least 500 or more homeless families living in cars, living with relatives, living with boyfriends, sometimes some very violent situations. So it would just be a great enhancement for our families here in Wyandotte County to have a family shelter. As many of you may or may not know, we've tried several times to get a team of us to go to Topeka to take a look at their site and see if possibly we could use that model. They have both a men's shelter, a women's shelter, and a family shelter, along with the wraparound services of finding jobs and healthcare advocates, mental health. So it has a variety of services available, including feeding the families. And so all it requires is money. So we'll just be working in that arena, also looking for funding from not just here locally, but also state and federal dollars. Another area we've been talking about is affordable housing. And we discovered that over 4,000 families can only afford rent at about the amount of $650. And so we've looked at some incentives for landlords to accept vouchers and rental houses. So we've got a lot of work to do in this arena. We can work with neighborhood revitalization, the MBR collaboration. We could begin the process for building 200 to 500 new affordable housing units a year in Wyandotte County for the next 5 years. We can start a housing trust fund for WICO. Usable vouchers, work with landlords, rehab old homes for rental units, and identify old buildings that can be repurposed for rental.
Dr.
So
Hill,
these are, yes.
I think Commissioner Bynum has a question.
Oh,
Hi, thanks.
I'm sorry, Commissioner. How are you? Thank
I'm
you.
good. I'm good. I'm curious, you had a stat up on the prior slide or
Yes. This one?
yes, because I read that we have 23,000 families that cannot afford more than 500 a month for housing. So I know that this data came from somewhere, but can anybody here remind me where the data came from? Did it come from the CHIP? I'm just curious because your slide says 4,000 can afford rent of $650, and this other post I read on social media said 23,000, and that's a big difference. I was just curious because I feel like the data came from somewhere. Tom, are you?
Well, the 23,000 sounds very familiar to a Mid-America Regional Council number for low-income housing tax credit available units. So I don't know if that 23,000 might be metro-wide or not.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. I really perked up because I just read the 23,000 this morning, and I knew we were quoting data from our own work. I just couldn't remember whose work it was.
And Dr. Hill, go ahead.
I can always go through. This is just the beginning. We can make adjustments and corrections along the way, but I sure appreciate you bringing that up. Like you said, that's a huge difference.
Well,
And-
and if we can just identify, again, I can't remember which study. I can't remember if it was Dwayne Bright's work with as the Fuse Fellow. I can't remember where the data came from. So that's all I was asking. Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you. Oops. Okay. Yeah, we already talked about that one. Systemic change alert, hire a community development director and team to work on planning and building affordable housing in Wycoast. So it was my understanding that we do not have a person in the UG whose role is to specifically work on the planning and building of affordable housing in Wyandotte County. Wyandotte County Landlord Risk Mitigation Fund. Andrea Tapia from the Housing Authority put together a proposal, and we sent it to the mayor a while back, but we haven't heard anything back from it. But it would offer this landlord risk mitigation fund. And Greg Take, would you like to talk about that? You worked with Andre in that committee quite a bit.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry. Technical, can you see me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I have it set up. I was just watching the speaker. Yeah, the proposal includes salary for a position, including benefits, and for a fund from which to draw down money to help cover expenses that landlords would incur if damage was done to his or her property. That's really, and I actually have not seen the final proposal submitted. So that's as much as I can offer right here without reading that. But having been a landlord, I certainly would have been more open to renting the folks that might have a challenging residence there, because the cost to repair damage is substantial and it's only going up. So I think that's a very wise position. And the position also was a liaison for landlords to talk with the city and to get information, give information. That's what I got right now.
Okay, thank you. And we put that proposal out several times, but I'm happy to show you that proposal again. We do have it, so I'm happy to send it out if you all would like for me to.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Greg. Here's some more action, and I just pulled this up online. Let's see if we can just get this to cooperate. Well, there we go. Okay, legalize more apartment units, legalize accessory dwelling units, eliminate or reduce parking requirements, more quickly and predictably approve developments that meet zoning laws, and build more affordable housing near transit. And so again, this was just information we took off the internet, and I can definitely send this out also. Here's some more systemic changes: establish and expand affordable housing trust funds, improve housing voucher programs, maintain and establish emergency rental assistance programs, inventory and allocate public land for affordable housing, and support community land trusts. Okay, and this one has to do with some of the nonprofit organizations that would offer wraparound services as we consider this affordable housing and shelter. Here are just a few of the organizations that would be at the table at sort of a continuum of care for those individuals in need. Wyandotte Behavior Health, Frank Williams Center, Hillcrest Transitional Housing, Cross Lines, the Village Initiative, Avenue of Life, and other social service agencies. And I'm really excited about this piece. Randy was telling us a while back, and Rachel, you're welcome to jump in here. Let me see if I can move this out the way. Oh boy. Okay. There we go. Julia Orlando, who is a consultant. In 2016, Julia successfully steered the community-wide effort in Bergen County, New Jersey, in response to First Lady Michelle Obama and Dr. Jill Biden's mayor's challenge to end veteran homelessness. Bergen County was the first community in New Jersey to achieve this goal, and in 2017, under her leadership, Bergen County was the first community in the nation to end chronic homelessness and currently sustain functional zero for over 3 years. So, Rachel, feel free if you'd like to jump in and talk about this consultant and when she might be coming in and any information you may have on that.
Randy, do you have any of that information? I don't know the specifics of the contract that KDADS has with her.
Okay, I'm sorry, I forgot Randy came. Okay, sure.
It's okay.
Okay. I can tell you what I know. So KDADS, the Kansas Department of Aging and Disability Services, has contracted with Julia Orlando to provide consultation around housing across the state of Kansas. She's currently been working in Douglas County and doing some work down in the Wichita area. She has met a couple times with Assistant County Administrator Unhoused and myself and Jonathan Pendergrass from KDADS to be kind of a preliminary conversation about her providing some consultation to us, Wyandotte County, but also working with regional approaches to end homelessness as well. So not just Wyandotte County, but looking primarily across the river to Missouri, maybe to the south of us. But also in the conversations with KDADS, they've talked about not only providing access to Julia Orlando for some TA, but also funding a housing expanding position and a housing coordinator to help drive this comprehensive plan around ending homelessness. So where that stands today, I am not sure. That's something that Alan House has been the point person with KDADS on, and not sure if that's been inked or signed into agreement yet or not.
Okay.
Randy, is it are they talking about a boundary spanner?
That's the language.
Is that it?
Yeah, as soon as I said that, I was like, that's not the right language, and Rachel will correct me.
And that's someone who will help people who maybe want to be housed in another county adjacent to Wyandotte County be able to, span those boundaries and go into those other both the other continuums of care and to help them with that process of getting to another county or coming into our county.
Okay, thank you. Well, that is the conclusion of the PowerPoint, and it's just the beginning, just a springboard. There's not a whole lot of detail in that, so lots of details to come. So any comments or corrections or?
I have a question, and we've been talking about the consultant, Ms. Orlando, for 3 months now, I think at least. And Randy, thank you for always keeping us informed. We've been encouraging and advocating for this to happen. If it hasn't been executed, what can we be doing to encourage those that have the power to execute the contract to do so?
That's a conversation I had with David Johnston 2 weeks ago. Encouraged him to follow up with Alan to see where the status of that is, because I believe Mr. Johnston would be the one to sign off on that. And then anyone who has contact with Alan or could want to help kind of follow up. I am as well, but others could, and that would be helpful. I've also attempted to follow up with KDAD's Jonathan Pendergrass and not gotten a recent response, but continue to do that. But you're right, it's been several months, Tom, and nothing formal is in place, at least to my knowledge.
Would individuals participating on this Zoom meeting be willing to send an advocacy email to your commissioner and to the city administrator or county administrator and to the mayor's office? I'll pledge to do so.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll follow up with the mayor's office as well.
Thank you, Brian. Dr. Hill, thank you for that PowerPoint presentation. That was phenomenal.
Thank you, Tom.
And Rachel, you had mentioned something. This is obviously a regional and really kind of statewide and obviously a national topic. And I was just reflecting within the last 2 weeks, I've been to and presented to Jackson County on their homeless committee. Last week I went to United Community Services of Johnson County. They had a public forum on homelessness, and here we are today talking about homelessness and unhoused and housing issues in Wyandotte County. There, unbeknownst to me, and Clayton, thank you for letting me know about this, but there was an interim homeless task force or special committee on homelessness at the state level. And so they held testimony a couple weeks ago, and a lot of outside individuals from Texas and other states coming in and trying to tell the state of Kansas to essentially criminalize homelessness. I think I'm getting some of those facts correctly. So my point being, we have to stay kind of on top of a lot of these things and make sure that we're communicating amongst ourselves and making sure that when necessary, we band together for that right advocacy.
Right on, Brother Tom.
Commissioner Bynum, is there any updates, any information you'd like to share, any questions you have for the group?
You know, I think that a meeting is coming with a small group, Tom, and you might be included in that. I'm confusing myself, but I feel like the mayor has convened a small meeting to talk about that exact topic. Am I right?
Yes, you are.
Okay. But what you're referencing is something at the state level, which is what Missouri did.
Correct.
Okay. Well, perhaps our meeting is going to be about the state, potential state action.
Did anyone on the Zoom call attend that state level special committee on homelessness?
Yeah, I did. It's a continuation of a bill that was introduced to the Welfare Reform Committee. It was a few months ago. It was House Bill 2430 to criminalize homelessness, where some people from Texas testified. They're introducing legislation across the United States that looks very similar. The legislation they introduced in Kansas looks similar to what they introduced in Missouri. We were able to mobilize a lot of our homeless service providers across the state and get that stalled. And the response of the Welfare Reform Committee was to put together this special commission with experts, including the Topeka Homeless Outreach Team, some Lawrence business leaders, some leaders that have different shelters, talking about what their experiences with homelessness, what they perceive to be the challenges to housing people, and the barriers, and what they see as the solutions. And I think that there was a lot of discussion about different solutions, a lot of different views on what works and what doesn't. And I think the conversation just continues in that way.
Hey, Rachel, what bill was that?
House Bill 2430.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. We unfortunately don't get a chance to speak. They have the special committee that's selected. We have a lot to say, but we don't get to speak.
Brian, you put something in the chat box. Could you explain what that is, please?
I just dropped the link for the CHIP dashboard. I was trying to find if those data points you guys are talking about with the families that can only afford $650 a month rent. So there's a lot of good information on there. I haven't pinpointed it yet, but I just dropped it in there just in case anybody wants to view it.
Commissioner-elect Hill, what do you think?
Well, I think this has been informative. Does anybody have any questions or like to challenge Tom on a few items?
I'm sorry, I have a bad connection. I think I'm going to be dropping off soon.
Well, well, if there are no more questions, any comments or suggestions? The PowerPoint was like a springboard without a whole lot of definite anything in it, but at least, oh, there's Commissioner Bynum has her hand up.
Well, I just remembered that last week at Economic Development and Finance Standing Committee was brought forward a draft of a community benefits ordinance. Excuse me. Community benefits ordinance, such that a fund that a developer would pay into, and that could be for a variety of things. And I will have to find the draft that was distributed to the members of that standing committee, because we didn't take any action. We had too many questions, but I think that it could be pertinent to our our work of this committee and all of these agencies that are working so hard on especially affordable housing. So let me find the draft ordinance. Commissioner Davis had been at least the commission spokesperson for that. And I know that Wyandotte Economic Development Council and several other neighborhood-based folks had been engaged in those ongoing conversations. I apologize. Commissioner Johnson was the one spearheading the effort through his mayor's economic development task force work. And as you know, he's leaving the commission. And so the pressure point was that we were trying to at least adopt the resolution prior to his departure. And that is really the only deadline that we're under. But let me find the draft ordinance. And if I could put it, Tom, into your hands, would you be able to distribute it to the group? Because we wouldn't be opposed to hearing anyone's thoughts or questions on it, and it could come alongside some of this work and be one small, very small source of funding that might seed some of what we're trying to get done on this task force.
Be happy to do so, Commissioner.
Yeah, I'll find it ASAP and get it to you so that folks can have a look at what we're talking about.
Commissioner, I may have solved a mystery. What I was trying to post in the chat was a Facebook post that I thought was most interesting. It was from Fran Sutton, who I did not know was the warming center coordinator. And she was reposting some wonderful information from someone else. But in Fran's post, she indicates in Wyandotte County, we have over 23,000 families that cannot afford more than $500 per month for housing.
Yes, that's the post I read this morning.
So I don't, she does not cite that. So, but that's, so at least we're starting to find out where all these numbers are coming
Yeah,
from.
I was just, because that number was so different than what Dr. Hill was sharing, I was just trying to get back to our original data point, because I know that it's within a study that someone within the UG and one of our mini groups has published. And anyway, apparently it's a Monday and my brain just doesn't want to work right this minute. But yeah, I'd just like to confirm the data and the report that it came from. So, but thank you. That is where I saw it this morning.
So, and it seems that the link is not working. So I will work on getting that information out to you. I also posted something very interesting, and I heard it at another meeting. A lot of us serve a specific type of individual. And when we personalize it, it makes it a lot more relative and relational and impactful. And the term I heard was ALICE. And I think it's a United Way term, and I posted it in the chat. And ALICE stands for Asset Limited, Income Constrained, Employed. So a lot of the individuals, that the family that's working full time but still having trouble to make ends meet for rent and food and clothing and medicine and all those things, that they have a name. It's right now it's Alice, but they have real names, and so that just helps me think about who we're trying to serve and why we're doing this.
I just emailed the draft of the CBO.
Thank you. Thanksgiving's coming up. It's a time to be thankful for all that we have. Are there any things that our respective organizations might need or might have an abundance of, or any upcoming events that we'd like to share and let folks know about?
Tom, I'll jump in. Salvation Army, KCK. We have one of our advisory council members on the call today on the Zoom here, Mary Smith. And Mary's been working with our families. We're currently signing up families for Christmas assistance. So if you know someone, know of a family in Wyandotte County that needs Christmas assistance, send them our way. Tuesdays and Thursdays up until December the 7th. So the next couple weeks we'll be there tomorrow. Then the next 2 weeks on Tuesdays and Thursdays, signing up folks for help at the holidays. Send them our way. Call me. I'll get you hooked up. They've got to call our office. I don't know if you want me to put our number in the chat, but they have to call to make an appointment to come in. Couple more weeks left to do that. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Many blessings to all.
Clayton, if you can, put the number in there, and thank you, Mary, thank you, Salvation Army, for helping with that.
Clayton, is that just, not just, but is that for families particularly?
Yes, but can also be individuals. It can be seniors. We have a special outreach to seniors. We're going to the KCK Housing Authority facilities all throughout Wyandotte County, meeting with the managers, and then trying to get assistance to the seniors that live in those complexes. So that generally means a small gift and help with groceries, a gift card or gift card or two to help with a holiday meal.
Great, thank you.
Does that help, Randy? Do you need more clarification than that?
No, that's really helpful. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
you're welcome. Thank you for asking.
Brian, I think there might be a gremlin in the system because the link that you sent out did not work for me. Says I didn't have access.
Okay, I'll download a PDF copy of it.
Thank you.
Send it to you.
Dr. Hill, what do you think?
Well, I think we did good. Any other questions? We're down to 4:49, so we might get done a little bit early.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving. Have a great one.
Thank you.
You too.
Thank you.
See you, everybody. Be good.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, and thank you.